Arndale in the market. So I was so inquisitive, and I said to her, tell me about your plants, tell me about your shop. And she was telling me about the plants. So she's going to be telling you today about the plants and what plants do to improve your health. And also I've got Dr. Shushni Mudler, who you probably all know, for you listeners who was listening to Buko and Dr. Shushni Mudler, who was regularly updating you on COVID. Well, today she's going to talk about how she has incorporated natural alternative therapies such as herbs in mental health well-being and what herbs bring. So we're going to be talking to Shishna in 5 minutes, but it's now coming up to 1:45. My goodness, doesn't time go? And I hope you'll relax and you're sitting there, or you're having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a drink, just to make you to hydrate you, because you know how important it is that our body have sufficient fluids to prevent us being dehydrated. Because when you're dehydrated, your eyes start all get dry, and also it's not good because then you can't flush out all those nasty poisonous toxins in your body. So make sure you're hydrated and you're relaxed. And yes, so we're going to now speak to Dr. Sushni Mudler. Hello, Sushni.
Hello, good afternoon, Velma. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the lovely introduction.
How are you?
It's always hello. Hello, hi, Velma.
Hi. Yes, I'm really interested in why you decided to move into herbs as part of psychiatry.
Yes.
Tell us about it. Why? Your doctor's kitchen, apparently.
Yes. So the reason I've done that, Velma, is because, I do believe in food is medicine. So I started the Happy Doctor's Kitchen, and the Happy Doctor's Kitchen is where I talk about foods that we eat, that because we are what we eat, and food is medicine. So Hippocrates, is someone that's quite well known in the medical field, and he said, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine thy food." So I started looking more into it and doing more research, and what I found was that there were certain types of foods that we could eat, or herbs that we could have, and spices that were actually medicinal. And as I grew up in a spice shop in South Africa with my parents, who are both late, we also started to look at how specific spices were able to help us as well in terms of mood and mental health. So there is a lot of evidence out there, but in terms of looking at herbs, and spices, there is definite evidence to say that certain types of spices and herbs can actually help you. For example, turmeric. Turmeric is something that Velma, and that's something that's really good. It helps for depression. It helps to keep people calm, and it also helps for memory problems. So like turmeric, there's lots of other herbs and spices that can actually help you. So it's not just the foods like protein-based foods or more green leafy vegetables, but there's also certain evidence that herbs and spices can help you as well.
Right. So in terms of incorporating natural ingredients such as herbs, how would you use herbs in terms of getting individuals to see how herbs in their diet can support them? I mean, is it just put it in the food or what?
Yes, so putting it in. So, for example, I can just tell you about my experience. So, foods can be used. The herbs and spices can be used in your food. So, when you're preparing foods, so it's about thinking about adding more taste and flavor to your foods. But but at the same time, it's also adding some medicinal value. So, for example, we can take mint, peppermint. I mean, I'm sure you know the benefits of peppermint and mint leaves. So it's very good for digestion, very good for cooling your body as well, and it's very healthy for the entire gut. Because what we find with mental health is obviously the brain gut connection. So our brain and our connection with our body, with our intestines, and the way our food is digested is affected. So by then incorporating these foods into our diet, it can help for that connection, because a lot of the mental health conditions occur because people have a poor gut health, and so using things like mint, which helps for our immune system, which helps for digestion, can also help. So I would say, for example, mint is something you can add into your food. So when I make certain dishes like biryani or certain yogurt dishes, I add a lot of mint leaves. When I make salads, I add mint. And also I drink mint tea. So I have a habit of actually taking the mint leaves. I've got a pot of mint that I've actually grown from the seeds, and which I've actually grown lots of other vegetables, which I'll talk about, like coriander, some salad leaves, and a few other things. And what I'm finding is that I'm actually then just using some of these things in my food. So I'm going to hold up. I've got, it's unfortunate you can't see, but I'm live on Facebook. So I've got a pot of my leaves, of my mint leaves that I'm actually showing. So I actually take just a few sprigs of leaves. If you smell mint as well, it's absolutely lovely smell. So I just take a few sprigs of the leaves, I add it into hot water, and I have it as a tea. And then, as I said, I also add it into my salads and in foods and curries that I make. So there's so many different ways in which you can use the spices and herbs. Coriander is another one that I use. Rosemary, is very good as well. Rosemary is very good for, especially for women who are going through menopause. So rosemary is one of those herbs that are absolutely essential. Sage as well. So there's a wide range of herbs and spices that we can use. So these are only a few that I've mentioned. Thyme is very healthy as well, Velma, for people, especially if they've got mood problems and they want to balance their mood, and also they've got emotional problems. So thyme is another herb that's very
can
useful.
I ask, can I ask then, how are you going to encourage individuals, particularly those suffering from mental health, to look at using herbs and natural ingredients in terms of improving their health? Because in psychiatry, it's as you know, because as in terms of being a psychiatrist, that medications has been the norm.
Yeah.
And several years ago, we knew that as soon as the woman went to her GP and talked about being down, they gave her Valium.
Yes.
And then they became addicted to Valium. So how are we going to engage, particularly GPs, in terms of encouraging their patients with mental health, but not just with mental health, but patients to look at natural therapies,
yes,
and ingredients, and to change their whole lifestyle in terms of seeing these valuable herbs that's a treat. You can grow in your own gardens, for them to be inspired to say, okay, let me look at how I can use these natural ingredients to improve my mental health.
Yes, so it's a very, very good question. And it's already started happening. We've already seen a shift, as you described the case. I mean, it's a holistic approach. So when someone comes to us, it's not just about medication. So it's a range of therapies we provide, which is obviously psychological and talking therapies. And then there's a social support. But if you look at certain guidance, for example, with the NICE guidance, Velma, for dementia and people with psychobehavioral and psychological problems, from dementia as a person's memory advances. Part of that, we actually are recommended to advise about aromatherapy. So a lot of these herbs, as you know, so mint that I've just picked up and I'm holding, I said the smell of it is amazing. So you can actually get these herbs in the form that you can cook with, that you can drink as a tea, or you can actually put them in an incense burner, or you can use as a topical oil. So for example, I was just going to explain about the dementia, and then I'll talk about how we can actually move forward with this. So we actually recommend lavender oil and melissa oil as well. So aromatherapy for people to calm them down when they've got dementia. So this is something which is known and is part of our guidance. So it has already started. But I think the way in which we can encourage people is, as you said, it's healthy to start using, and actually it's cheaper, and it's therapeutic. Because I've even found that now that I've started to grow plants, and actually make my own plant, grow my own herbs and my lettuce leaves. And when I'm actually using it, when I'm preparing my dishes, I can tell you, and practicing mindfulness, which is obviously essential in mental health, I actually find such a difference. And I'm sure that when our patients and our clients are experiencing symptoms of anxiety or depression, or going through some like emotional relationship difficulties or memory problems, there's a spectrum of conditions that people experience with mental health. But I think if they start using things, being open to using holistic approaches. So whereas, as I said, now it's not just about giving medication, psychology, and social, but it's about thinking about, okay, doing some gardening, which is therapeutic. So you can start growing your own vegetables. And I think during the lockdown, a lot of people have started to do this. I know a lot of people that have started to actually grow their own vegetables. And in the practice that I do, the Sukyo Mahi curry, we have a one pot had to do with my kids. They planted sunflower.
Lot of starchy food that's been served. But do you think this is the time now to get hospitals to look at being more adventurous in terms of bringing more appropriate diet that is going to be enhancing to the health of individuals, rather than giving them starchy food?
Yes, exactly. So exactly like that. So in terms of looking at our hospitals, looking at when we are doing activities with our patients, and also if we're supporting them in the community. So as I said, encouraging them to take up a new hobby with gardening, growing their own vegetables. If that's not possible, if they're in a hospital setting, they can start also, when they're doing occupational therapy activities where they have to cook their own meals or prepare meals, we can start to think about getting them to prepare meals, which, as you said, less starch, more protein based, and more wholesome and flavorsome with natural herbs and spices. Because it's all about naturals. Because the more natural we go, the more green leafy vegetables we use, more vegetables. You can eat meat. I'm not saying don't eat meat, but I think incorporating more vegetables and more green stuff in our food is definitely going to be more healthy for us in the long run. It's going to reduce conditions like diabetes, It's going to reduce our cholesterol. It's going to help for our mood. It's going to reduce our weight, because all these things that we eat will affect our mood. It will affect our brain gut development, and it will affect also our overall physical health. So the more and more healthy we become,
Okay, Susan, thanks so much. I just hope the prices for herbs don't go up in Sainsbury's now.
No, I'm sure it won't. But, I think I would encourage people to start growing their own herbs. I would encourage people to get a few seeds. It's not that costly, and you can start growing your herbs. And, I'm just sitting here, and the smell of the mint is absolutely so powering, and it's amazing.
Thanks so much for that. And yes, we shall be raising the profile of improving your health through My Body's My Temple. And yes, you've heard
you are what you eat, and food is medicine.
Talking about how she is integrating herbs and natural therapy within psychiatry. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Valma, and have a fantastic day.
Time. Take care now.
Okay then, bye-bye. Thank you.